Belal Muhammad was spot on with his skating takedown of Kamaru Usman.
That is not an overreaction. That is actually true. And there were a lot of mental warfare going on between the two of them. So Kamaru Usman has done a great job of, Belal Muhammad said it correctly. If you look at the stats, if you look at what we look at, the records, it's not going his way. But he carries a big name, and he's doing a good thing that Henry Cejudo used to do. You attach yourself to big names. And as long as you keep doing that, we write stories about you. Fans talk about you. I think that's what Kamaru Usman is doing. I think Belal Muhammad, maybe he hit a nerve, the whole you're not going to fight Islam Makhachev. So all he did was try and go back and hit a nerve on him. But you look at a guy like Kamaru Usman and what he accomplished in the sport, yes, it was very impressive. But a lot of it was impressive because he was on the heels of the greatest welterweight champion of all time, and that was GSP.
Right.
The second he started losing, he was no longer being compared to GSP, which kind of hurt him a little bit.
Well, those were premature. Those were premature comparisons in the first place. I just want to set the record straight there, but go ahead.
Yeah, and it pushed him to the side. And look, fighters have egos. They don't like to be pushed to the side. And all Belal Muhammad did was kind of reintroduce that fact to the table. But I kind of agree with him on that, man. Like this, enough already. You got to get in there in the cage and prove it. And Belal Muhammad in that same interview said, look, I'd actually fight him. I just need him to win one fight. And you know what? If the UFC wants to make that happen, trust me, they'll give him a good fight. Do it and shut this guy up. That's the beauty of our sport. You guys don't like each other? There you have it. That's the way how you do it. You can shut each other up. All you got to do is win one fight.
Yeah.
I'm Belal Muhammad. I take that and I fight.
Absolutely. So the question now is what would that fight be? It's not going to happen next. You don't get a title shot, on a 3-fight losing streak. And I know one of those was a last minute middleweight fight against Khamzat Chimaev, but Usman is on the downswing right now. He's got to come up with something. Who should that be against? There's been talk that he turned down this guy, that guy, this guy. And for whatever reason, I don't know that he's necessarily hip to what would be my suggestion, which would be Joaquin Buckley getting a shot against Kamaru Usman. What do you think of that being the fight that Usman needs to take probably when he's healthy, whatever his injury issue is, to prove that he still has one more title fight in him?
Well, see, look, it's Belal Muhammad that's saying all you need is one fight. But it's what Belal Muhammad says and what the UFC thinks, right? Do they think it's one fight? I'll say this much. If it is Joaquin Buckley, who it should be, that's good enough for me. I would take that because Joaquin Buckley's on an absolute terror right now. Okay. Now, does the UFC want to maybe ruin a potential fight that could be interesting down the road for Belal Muhammad? I don't know. I thought it was kind of odd them putting together some of the other fights that they've done, but I actually think that's the fight that needs to happen. And if it does, Kamaru Usman gets that win, make that fight happen. And guess what? That's the type of fight that's going to pull our attention away from everything else. We'll buy those pay-per-views because those two will sell that fight. They have the statistics to make us want to buy that pay-per-view because they do put on pretty good fights. I'm all in. It should be Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the one. I think Usman needs that. He needs that badly because this takedown by Belal, I mean, he really set the record straight on where Usman stands right now. He's got a really high ranking still. He's number 3 in the official UFC rankings. So clearly the rankings panel has shown him a lot of respect, despite, losing back-to-back fights to Leon Edwards. And then, you don't count the middleweight fight against him, right, in the welterweight ranking. So he's still up there, but we see it, right? Kamaru Usman has not been the same Kamaru Usman, and this could just be a case of father time starting to catch up with you. He is 37 years old. He does talk about injuries, but again, I think Kamaru needs to stop talking so much, and maybe just be ready to fight Joaquin Buckley. That's the one. Beat the guy on the rise. Show us you still got it. And then, I'd love to see him fight either Shavkat or Belal after that. I'd be all in for it.
I think part of it is not only wanting the fight, but asking for it. That's part of being the gangster is you be the one that say you want that fight. Don't make the UFC put it together. Say you want that fight. That
right?
says a lot more.
Yeah, because it sounds like Usman doesn't want to fight any of these guys on the
Right.
rise. Like he still thinks he commands this respect of another title shot or something. That's just not where he's at right now.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree.
MMA Junkie AI.